Hello and a very good evening to you. This is Newsfirst Prime Time News coming to you live on MTV Sports and Shakti TV from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. I am Shaheen Jurangpati.
And I am Nicola Dezoiza. As usual, we start off with a look at tonight's headlines.
UNP supporters clash in Monragala. Doctor convicted of the 2007 rape and murder of a woman at the Negombo Hospital sentenced to death. Postal services in Colombo hampered by postal workers' token strike. Students at 3 universities staged demonstrations.
First up, President Mahinda Rajapaksa says that it is the government's purpose to ensure that the children of this country are successful not in the country but in the world as well. The President made these remarks at the opening ceremony of several Mahindodaya laboratories in the Badula district today.
The Mahindodaya laboratories of 4 schools in the Badula district were declared open today. A 40 computer laboratory has been constructed at the Bibilagama Mahavidyalaya in Passara, Badula. The Mahindodaya laboratory also comprises of a language lab with 20 computers, a mathematics laboratory and an NSA distance learning center. The Mahindodaya laboratory at the Gonekal Tamil College in Badula was also declared open today. We are very happy today that we are able to gift these Mahindodaya laboratories to these schools. We are happy that we have the ability today to take education which was limited to a certain class in the city all over the country. We pray that these children will use these laboratories to become technologically literate and study in the technology stream and to go on to succeed in the country and in the world.
Making headlines this evening, a doctor who was found guilty of the rape and murder of a young woman at the Negombo Hospital several years ago was sentenced to death today. Negombo High Court Judge H.M.H. Ghafoor handed down the sentence today following a lengthy trial.
The death of 22-year-old Chamila Disanaika, who fell to her death off the 6th floor of the Negombo Hospital in 2007, was a subject of much controversy. Police investigations later revealed that the young woman had been raped by a doctor at the hospital who had then flung her from the 6th floor to her death. The doctor, Indika Sudarshana Balage, was later arrested and produced in court, following which indictments were filed in the Negombo High Court. He was found guilty of murder and sentenced to death. He received a 15-year prison sentence for the rape, a fine of 10,000 rupees and an additional 6 months in prison in the event of failure to pay the fine. The murdered young woman's parents too attended the sentencing hearing at the Negombo High Court today. Chamila Disanaika, resident of Katukar Mandya in Dambagala, was employed at an apparel factory prior to her murder.
Meanwhile, postal services in Colombo and its suburbs came to a standstill today due to a token strike launched by postal workers. The Central Postal Exchange in Colombo was the worst affected as a result of the token strike.
මධ්‍යම තැපැල් හෝමාරුවේ මහල් 8කින් යුතු ගොඩනැගිල්ලක මහල් 4ක කෙරෙන සියලු කාර්යබහුල
Activities at the Central Postal Exchange have come to a standstill as a result of the strike action. 4 floors of this 8-storied building is dedicated to the sorting out of letters. Nearly 3 to 5 million letters are distributed through this centre. However, the centre seemed deserted today due to the token strike.
තැපැල් සේවකයින් අද ආරම්භ කළ සංකේත වැඩ වර්ජනය
16 postal trade unions have joined the trade union action. The trade union members are calling for the abolition of Circular 6/2006, which dictates recruitment and appointment of officials in the service.
We are calling on the authorities to intervene in order to protect the postal service, protect the rights of the workers. The circular was created in an ad hoc manner to destroy the postal service.
The disruption of work at the Central Postal Exchange also disrupted the distribution of mail to the other areas of the country as well. The Postal Trade Union Collective noted that no disruptions have taken place to the distribution of postal voting ballot papers for the Uva Provincial Council election. However, Postmaster General Rohan Aberatna noted that the token strike has not affected postal services. He noted that members of other trade unions who did not engage in the strike have been carrying out postal services.
Students from 3 universities engaged in 3 separate protests today. The Students' Union of the Ruhunu University engaged in a protest today in front of the university. The protest was staged calling for the release of a Sabaragama University student who is being detained by the Terrorism Investigation Department. Vehicular movement along the Tangol-Mathura main road was obstructed due to this protest. The protest march commenced at the campus and proceeded to the Tangol-Mathura main road. A tense situation arose after the Mathura police arrived at the scene.
If the issues at the Peradeniya and Sabaragama universities are not resolved, all the unions at the Ruhunu University will unite tomorrow itself and intervene in this matter.
Meanwhile, the Student Union of the Rajarata University also engaged in a protest in front of their university. The protest was staged calling for the release of several Sabaragama and Peradeniya University students who are imprisoned. The Students' Union of the Sabaragama University engaged in a satyagraha for the second consecutive day today to protest the prohibition of the union and 4 faculty unions. Satyagraha was carried out at the Pabahina junction on the Badula Colombo road.
The Human Rights Commission recommended that all student unions be reinstated, but these recommendations have been violated by the Vice Chancellor. It has been 157 days since this has happened.
The man who self-immolated opposite the Kolpiti police station last morning passed away while being treated in hospital last night. The police say that the post-mortem examination has confirmed that the cause of death was suicide by self-immolation.
The deceased has been identified as 72-year-old TV Piyasena. A retired staff sergeant of the Sri Lanka Army, Piyasena was a father of 3. He had retired from the army in 1983. He had been living at his younger daughter's residence.
He buys a lot of lottery tickets. He steps out saying he will purchase a lottery ticket and return. But yesterday he did not come back. I thought it was about time that he returned since he only went to Malabay. He has a friend in Malabay. I usually make tea by around 10:30 or 11. So I thought to myself that he would have told me if he was getting late. It was then that I got the call.
His daughter said that he had threatened to commit suicide on a prior occasion as well.
Once before he told me that if the human rights violations against the president in Geneva are proven, he would go to Kolpiti and self-immolate. I scolded him and we asked him if he was mad. And then he said that if something happened, he would commit suicide. He loved the president that much. He would not let anyone say anything about him. He never spoke to me about committing suicide. I have constantly warned him about his blood pressure when he becomes angered after watching these things. I told him not to speak of these things and that he carried out his duty in his time. He never listened to us. He was a very courageous person.
The deceased had paid a funeral parlour 4 years ago to conduct his funeral rites following his death. The police say that prior to setting himself on fire, the man had handed in a sealed envelope to the Kolpiti police. The envelope has not been opened, but when Newsfirst visited the home, we were shown a poem that the deceased had penned about President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
This was the last song that my grandfather wrote about the country. He was very good, but he was too involved in politics.
The Newsfirst team went in search of the deceased friend, whom according to his younger daughter was the last person he had visited. While the friend was not at home, his wife who spoke to us said she was unaware of the death.
We were very close to him. He was a very good man. While speaking, he did tell us that he had paid for a funeral parlour, but he never spoke of any family problems.
The remains of TV Pirsena are currently lying at the space he had paid for previously at a funeral parlour in Talahena.
The son of an Uva provincial council candidate was injured in clashes between two groups of UNP supporters in the Munragala town this morning.
The police media unit says that a complaint has been lodged that UMP Uva Provincial Council candidate Thissa Kuttiarachchi and a group of his supporters had assaulted the son of fellow UMP candidate Sampath Jayasuriya. Tarinda Jayasuriya, who was injured in the attack which took place around 10:30 am today, was admitted to the Sri Lanka hospital. No arrests have been made in connection with the incident. He left this morning on the Munragala Wallawaya road to go to the divisional secretariat. A convoy of Thissa Kuttiarachchi's vehicles had chased after him. They blocked the road and then stopped our vehicle. A group including Thissa Kuttiarachchi got off and came up to our vehicle and asked where Sampath Jayasuriya was. I was not in the vehicle. He was the only one there. There were two others with him. They dragged my son out and beat him. They had hit him in the back with some sort of a weapon. Eyewitnesses said it looked like a sword. They had broken his hand.
Sampath Jayasuriya Mahatmage
Two vehicles stopped my convoy and they came up to me and said that they would not let me engage in politics in the Munragala district. I asked him if he was Sampath Jayasuriya's son and he said yes. So I spoke to him and said, tell your father to engage in politics as he sees best and I would continue on my path. I told him that we are all working to make the elephant victorious and no matter how many preferential votes we get, it is pointless if the party is defeated. At that point, 2 or 3 of their people got into a tussle with my people and there was an exchange of blows. This brand of thug politics will not do in Munragala. As a father, it is difficult for me to bear this. I am saddened that a person from our own party who has no connection to the Munragala district is engaging in politics here in this way and by the fact that he has accepted a government contract to disrupt the journey of the UNP. I wish to call upon our party leader to take a decision on this matter as a party. All I can say is be more cautious and thoughtful when introducing persons like this to politics in this district.
district එකට ඇතුල් කරනකොට මීට වැඩිය කල්පනාකාරීව වගකීමින් ක්‍රියා කරන්න කියන එක තමයි මට කියන්න තියෙන්නේ.
Meanwhile, a Newsfirst reporter captured this footage opposite the Munragala hospital this evening.
In other local news, UNP-affiliated trade union leaders have accused a member of the UNP Leadership Council who came to the party from another party of leaving the country with only a few days left for the Uva Provincial Council election. They point out that the party cannot achieve victory with a Leadership Council which comprises of members who flee in the face of challenges.
කොහෙන්ද පැමිණියා වූ පිරිසක් විසින් එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයේ අගාධයට පත් කරන්න කරන උත්සාහය අසාර්ථක කර යුතුයි. අද කුට්ටියාධිකාරී මණ්ඩලය
We must defeat the attempt that is being made by outsiders who have come to the UNP to drag the party into a crevice. What are the working committee and persons within the committee doing today? Individuals who have no voter base and who behave like jokers are acting today. People like Mangala Samaravira, who murdered the political character of Ranil Wickremesinghe, have entered the party today. We must put a stop to the destruction they are causing after casting aside mature politicians who have sacrificed much for the party after levelling unbelievable allegations against them. Where are people like Mangala Samaravira who are in the Leadership Council today? There is an election in Uva. They shout that it is a great battle. They have given advice as well. But Mangala Samaravira has now left the country. This in itself shows that these people are carrying out someone's contract to dismantle and destroy the UNP.
මේගොල්ල කරන්නේ මේ කාගේ හෝ කොන්ත්‍රාත්තුවක් එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයේ කඩා බිඳ දමන කොන්ත්‍රාත්තුවක්.
වැඩ කරන ජනතාව වෙනුවෙන් ජනාධිපතිතුමා හදපු ජාතික
The Jatika Sevaka Sangamaya was established by President J.R. Jayawardena for the working people. We are people who are committed to building a UNP government. Every UNP supporter in this country has rights over the party. If any person is against this, then we can say without fear that they are people who are gaining privileges from the government. They put together something called the Leadership Council. Those who put together the Leadership Council too have gone abroad today. We cannot fathom how this Leadership Council is going to bring victory to the party.
ඉතින් මේ නායකත්ව මණ්ඩලයෙන් ජයග්‍රහණයක් කරන්නේ කොහොමද කියන එක අපිට හිතා ගන්න බෑ.
Addressing a media briefing in Colombo today, UMP General Secretary Tissa Attanayake stated that several changes will be made during the 68th anniversary celebration of the United National Party.
I cannot divulge the complete agenda. However, I will state that steps need to be taken to make the party emerge victorious. The best message we can give party members and citizens of this country is that we will be celebrating the 68th anniversary as a united party. Wait and see. We will make that change. I cannot speak about it in detail. However, that change will be made within the UNP.
Still in local news, the Unity Through Power Devolution movement convened a media briefing in Colombo today.
Various persons are making various statements today. Jalabdeen from the Central Provincial Council has said yesterday that after Azad Saleh came to Kandy, the party lost all the Sinhala votes. Did they have any Sinhala votes to lose? 9 of them were elected because Azad Saleh came here. If they can go ahead without us, then do so. Jalabdeen got 46,000 votes because I got 57,500 votes. He would not have been elected otherwise. These are the problems within the UNP. The UNP Leadership Council has no control over their public representatives. How can these people who have no control over provincial councillors succeed in forming a parliament?